Day 20 of Russian assault on Ukraine continues, and it is the capital city of Kyiv that is under attack. Russia has stepped up its offensive on Kyiv. India Today is the only channel that is reporting right from the war zone. India Today contributor Rajesh Pawar is in Kyiv, capturing the full extent of the Russian attack and its destruction. Today, a residential block inside Kyiv was bombed. Huge plumes of smoke were seen coming out of this building.
This district here in Kyiv, a residential block has just been hit. Two blasts yesterday as well. You can see fire there. Fire, this tender has been working for last 2 hours, but still a lot of apartment blocks are still burning. If you can see the fire there. And this is a fire tender working here, but still there is fire. It's been burning for last 2.5 hours since it was struck by a missile in the morning today at 4:30 to 5 local time. The complete building has been destroyed. And there was another blast which I saw just before this. It was in the middle of a road. Nearby buildings were damaged, but it fell on a broad road, so not much casualties. But here, I believe, few people have died and a lot of them were injured. See, Russian forces are still a little far away. I mean, the nearest advance which they have made towards Kyiv, they are still about 12 to 13 kilometers away. But now the whole Kyiv city is within the artillery range of the medium artillery and the multi-barrel rocket launchers, which Russian forces have. The entire city is within their range now. They can fire at will anywhere on any building in Kyiv city. It is like about 10 kilometers away from the city center, but it is quite close to Irpin where the fighting was taking place, and maybe just about 10 kilometers from the front lines and 10 kilometers from the center. You can take it that way. And this is Akademia district. It's difficult for me to pronounce it right now, but Akademia district, which is named the place where it is, and it's a fully residential area. Only residential buildings in this whole area. No military establishment, no establishment of any strategic importance or any communication center. And this bomb has hit a completely residential sector inside the Kyiv city today morning around 4:30 to 5 local time. I'm here with Lena, who lives near this house. Let's know what she feels about it. Lena, куда тебе дома? And how far it is? Сколько distance? Tam? Her house is just about from here, about 150 meters from here. Что ты думаешь about this?
Но были слышны очень сильные взрывы, я не могу пару дней спать. То, что произошло здесь, это очень ужасно. Пожалуйста, прекратите.
Speak английский, read and speak.
I don't speak.
Okay, but I understand that you want the war to stop.
Stop.
Yes, and
No
it
war.
is no war. Okay, I understand. Thank you very much. Thank you. मैं इस वक्त उस बिल्डिंग के सामने हूँ जो आज सुबह जिसके ऊपर हमला हुआ है. पूरी बिल्डिंग धू के जल रही है. यहाँ मेरे साथ कात्या हैं जिनका घर यहाँ से सिर्फ 150 मीटर दूर है. Что ты here in the morning? Что по утрам сегодня?
Сегодня утром были слышны очень большие взрывы, огонь горел вовсю. Все люди бегут, все теряют родственников.
We're going across straight to my colleagues who are getting us the very latest on this big story from ground zero. Gaurav Sawant is in Lviv. Rajesh Pawar in the capital city of Kyiv. Coming to you first, Rajesh. Give us an idea about the current situation right now, even as we've been talking about how Russia has renewed its efforts to take over the capital city and have been absolutely relentless, even as they continue to deny attacking civilians and residential buildings there.
Look, before I start answering you, I would like to show you this area where I'm right now. It's a huge, It's a huge mall, almost a kilometer-long mall. Used to be very busy, and right now it's totally deserted. I just want to show you around if you can focus here. Look here, this is Retro Villa, 1 kilometer-long mall, huge mall, and look how everything deserted. These cars have been parked here now for many days. Nobody's using them. People who probably left the city, and look how the whole area is deserted. Look, such a huge mall, and everything is deserted right now. Everything is switch off right now. Can you see this around?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you hear me?
Yes, absolutely,
Yeah,
Rajesh.
so this is the kind of situation right now. Totally deserted malls, totally deserted streets, because there are no people here. Most of the people, families have left. Only people left behind are involved in essential services, militia, military, or people who are old and who say we will fight but we will not leave. Such people. So just about 5 to 10%. And let me give you additional information. There is a curfew in Kyiv from tonight onwards. Nobody can move out unless you have a pass or some kind of documents to move out. There will be an indefinite curfew in the city of Kyiv from tonight, 8 o'clock onwards, local time, because probably Russians are too close now and they cannot have people outside because they do not know who these people are. Therefore, to make sure that no Russian agent or any special forces agent is roaming around the city, which can sabotage something or can somehow jeopardize the defense which these people are trying to put up. So there is a total curfew in Kyiv from today evening, 8 o'clock onwards, 8 p.m. onwards.
Okay. You know, Rajesh, before I go to Gaurav, a quick word from you once again, because you mentioned that there is a curfew as well. How do the humanitarian corridors for those who want to leave Kyiv city then really works?
If you can focus your camera on my way, what I'm trying to show the whole area around me.
Yes.
I just showed you a 1 kilometer long mall. Look, Retro Villa, and it's all deserted right now. Checkposts everywhere. Look here how they have piled up the tires on the roadblocks here. Everything is blocked. Every 100 meter, there's a roadblock in the city of Kyiv right now. Totally, they are prepared that in case Russian army enters inside, they will face resistance every 50 meter. Every inch of ground will be fought for. And this is what Ukrainians have planned. In Kyiv, Russians will have to fight for every inch of ground in this city. As far as humanitarian corridors are concerned, continuous talks are going on. I believe a lot of people have left all these big cities like Kharkiv, Sumy. Even from Kyiv, a lot of people are leaving every day. And this is working, I believe. Russians are not bombing any trains or buses leaving these big cities. So humanitarian corridors are working. And that is one main reason the representatives of both the country, Russia and Ukraine, have agreed to conduct everyday talk, virtual talks every day. This will be an everyday affair, so that to ensure people can leave, these humanitarian corridors are functional and people are safe who are trying to leave. There are no civilian casualties. Both the countries want this, and this is a step in that direction.
Okay.
Over to you.
Okay, Rajesh, be with us. Gaurav Sawant is in Lviv, the same place, Gaurav, where Russia claims to have killed 180 mercenaries. Give us an idea about the current situation where you are.
So if you look all around me, Sneha, compared to Kyiv, which was absolutely deserted when we were leaving and trains that were full of people, here you have a large number of people who are in this city, because this is where they are they're relatively safer than in Kyiv or in Mariupol or in Dnipro or in Kharkiv, where heavy shelling has been taking place. Now, this area was also targeted, but that was a military location that was targeted by the by the Russian forces, where they claim that Ukrainian army and foreign mercenaries were undergoing training. But at this point of time, largely, look, there was just an air raid siren, and after that air raid siren, everyone was underground. Now they've come up once again, enjoying every bit of that sunlight that they can, and while they still can, it's about 10 degrees temperature. Maria is with us, and Maria, hi, where are you from, Maria, and how come you're here in Lviv?
So I'm originally from Dnipro, but I lived in Kyiv. My parents stayed in Dnipro. They are like more or less safe there, because we have a very good government in Dnipro and they save us. But I was in Kyiv, and then I hid around Kyiv in the village, and then it happened disaster there. It was like bombing. So me and my friend family, we tried to run away, and it was under planes bombing. So yeah, it was terrible. We were scared. We were hiding, and it took us, it's like 500 kilometers to here, but it took us around 3 or 4 days to came here.
3-4 days from Kyiv to come to this place, and that was because it was the train wouldn't get you here in one go.
We were going by cars because it was really difficult to get back to Kyiv to train. So we were going by cars, but it was very big, crowded cars, and like nowhere to sleep. So like when it was like 10 in the evening, we had to stay in the field because like it's time when no one can can move. Yeah.
Because of the curfew.
Yeah.
So curfews in place, Sneha, not just in Kyiv, but almost across Ukraine. After sundown, people are advised to remain indoors. But what about Lviv? Is Lviv safer?
Yeah, of course, it's much safer here, and like here, all of us, we feel much more comfortable because like, you know, a little bit far and like from Russia and from everything what's going there. So here you can see life still is going, everything is okay, but like you can never know. We are waiting for what's gonna happen. Everything can happen, you can never know, so yeah.
Which is true. What about your parents' condition? What is their situation? Do you have clarity on how your parents are or how your family is either in Dnipro or in other parts?
They live inside of Dnipro, and it was every time a lot of panic alarm, but like they stay safe. They try to help to volunteers. They like buy products and everything. So like all of us, we try to help to army and refugee as much as we can. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I hope you stay safe, and many thanks. Many thanks.
Take care.
You too. So this is the situation here. So there are people here. This is a mall. Bustling as of now, people feel safer here, but how long will this remain safe is one big question. Also, one thing which is very heartening. So while we talk about a lot of destruction and death and despair, what was heartening are the number of volunteers here, Sneha.
Yes.
Volunteers who are at railway stations. You get to a railway station and there are volunteers to help you. If you want to get to the borders, there are people who will actually take you to the border in their vehicles and hope that you are able to get to another country safely, or help you with accommodation here, with boarding and lodging here, and or just transport you from one place to the other. They're trying their best because they know people have left everything. They've left their home and hearth and their loved ones, and they're in panic, often unable to even communicate their problems. So people are helping people get out of harm's way, stay for some time in Lviv, and then make it to Poland or wherever else that they may want to go.
Absolutely.
But that fear remains, in their minds at all times. Sneha.
Absolutely, and that really is commendable. Gaurav, continue to be with us. Also, Rajesh, do be with us. We'll just come back to you both. We're getting the very latest as far as the capital city of Kyiv is concerned. It is bracing for an all-out assault. With each passing hour, Putin's troops are encircling Kyiv in a bid to capture Ukraine's crown. Putin is raining missiles on residential buildings in Kyiv's suburbs. Here is a ground report.
The big battle for Kyiv is underway. In a bid to capture Ukraine's capital city, Vladimir Putin is raining missiles. Even civilian areas are not spared. On Monday, Russian shells hit a building in Obolon, a residential district in the heart of Kyiv. At least one person was killed and 3 injured in the bombardment. Death, destruction and despair are visible everywhere.
I woke up. Actually, my mom woke me up. There was smoke and dust everywhere. We hid inside the closet. We thought that we were being captured, that the Russians were getting in through the door. But we were wrong. We got out of the apartment and saw that the staircase was not there anymore. Everything was on fire. We didn't know what to do. So we ran out to the balcony.
The Obolon, a district under attack, is around 10 kilometers away from the presidential building. The presidential building is the main office of the National Security and Defense Council and also the presidential administration of Ukraine. The Russian bombardment close to the building means with each passing hour, Putin's war machine is getting closer to President Volodymyr Zelensky. The Ukrainian leader, however, has refused to bow down or leave the city.
I stay here in Kyiv, on Bankova, and not hiding. I'm not afraid of anyone, as long as needed to win our national war.
The capital city is bracing for an all-out assault even as talks continue. The negotiations between the two warring nations have completed 4 rounds. but there's been no breakthrough in sight. Unless a ceasefire is agreed upon soon, Kyiv could fall to the Russian troops. With Rajesh Pawar in Kyiv, Bureau Report, India Today.
And Rajesh Pawar is in the capital city of Kyiv, where there is going to be an EU delegation visiting. Rajesh, what do you make of this move, really, of these countries, their leaders visiting Kyiv? And how do you think Russia is going to view these developments?
Look, this is largely symbolic. It has not much value for Ukrainian people, for Ukraine, or for anything other than a moral support. And Ukrainians right now do not need moral support. They need weapons, they need aircraft, and they need NATO to enforce a no-fly zone over Ukraine, to close the skies over Ukraine, which they have flatly refused to do. Poland says we will hand over these weapons, these aircrafts, MiG-29 to Americans, and then Americans can hand it over to Ukraine. So that's what the Ukrainians do not need. This is just a symbolic visit. Yes, it will help a little bit to give a kind of moral support that, yes, they are with you, but I don't think it makes much of a difference. And Ukrainians right now understand that they are isolated and they have to fight this battle on their own, and nothing much from military point of view, the equipment, the aircrafts, the air defense guns, the Patriot systems, which they expected probably would also come to them, are not coming, and they know it now. So these visits, I think, are just purely symbolic, has not much value, neither to the war, nor to the morale of the Ukrainian people right now. Over to you.
Yes, a sense of disappointment, Gaurav. Do you see that as well, given that the Ukrainian president has repeatedly asked an appeal for a no-fly zone to be imposed, but that request has not been looked at, given the fact that even NATO countries fear further escalation? And the Ukrainian president, Zelensky, has clearly said that from here on, all the deaths will be, in fact, something that even NATO countries should be held accountable for.
Well, President Zelensky has repeatedly warned NATO countries that it's Ukraine today, it will be NATO countries tomorrow. But how will a no-fly zone be enforced? In fact, when we were in Kyiv and across Kyiv, every signboard, said enforce a no-fly zone now, save lives now. It should have been done as on yesterday. But the question still remains, how will it be enforced when NATO countries are unwilling to directly supply, fighter jets to this country? It remains a huge challenge. Russia remains a very potent military force. The fact also remains that Ukraine has successfully held back the Russian advance for 20 days and counting, whether it's in Kharkiv or in Mariupol or in multiple other parts. But given the relentless assault that comes from Russia, and when you speak to people here, they tell you what they faced in their cities before they fled and before they came here. So the situation is extremely grim. These are people who are running away, putting their families out of harm's way. We interacted on board the train also with some soldiers. Now they are fighting the war, but their mothers, their wives, their children, their aged parents, they're sending them all out of harm's way and then going back to join the battle lines. And those battle lines now are not just on the outskirts of Kyiv, but inside the capital Kyiv. We've been reporting very extensively about how trenches are coming up inside the city. Rajesh was talking about that sprawling mall. Next to those sprawling malls, you have heavy earth diggers which are digging trenches and multiple barricades and barriers coming up to stall the advance of the Russian forces. So this war is actually very, very surreal. I mean, look at Kyiv, absolutely abandoned. And look at Lviv just now where we are. There is still semblance of life, but life under that threat. Like when we speak, you hear air raid sirens going off almost every couple of seconds, Sneha.
Yes, Gaurav, we'll just come back to you and also to Rajesh in a bit from now. And you mentioned air raid sirens. Well, let's talk about how they have been sounded in Lviv too. Residents came out of their homes in the city square. My colleague, our foreign affairs editor, Geeta Mohan, was there and she sent us this exclusive ground report.
There has been an air raid alert here in Lviv, and that's the reason why you'll see a lot of people out in the open. They've come here. There is a bomb shelter right across in the Lviv forum, and so they're all waiting over here. There's a long queue. A lot of people have gone in. A lot of people still waiting outside, since there were 3 sirens that were sounded out, and right now a lot of people waiting to see what's really going to happen. A lot of people have experienced these air raid sirens. I have a couple over here who are from Kyiv and have moved to Lviv. only to be in safety. But there are air raids over here as well. Are you all here because of the air raid siren?
Yes, maybe 20 minutes ago we heard the siren and go out to...
For how long do you stay out? 1 hour or 20?
No, 20 minutes.
Oh.
About 20 minutes. No.
Okay, so they're not sure, but in the beginning maybe they followed rules and stayed out for 1 hour, but because it has become repetitive, their time of staying out has reduced. Now they stay for 25 minutes, 30 minutes. She insists on an hour, but the gentleman over here says not more than 20 minutes. But it is serious. It is serious because a lot of people have moved homes. They've moved out of their cities. This couple over here moved from Kyiv. No work. They're here living at their parents in Lviv. But it certainly is a scare for many others. If you see across, a lot of people are now out in the open, only waiting to see whether if they can go back in to their homes into safety, or whether they should actually seek real safety and go to a bomb shelter. In Lviv, Geeta, Mohan for India Today.
Day after day, Ukraine continues to battle unending Russian attacks. The heat of war has not slowed down, with civilians suffering amid shelling and bombardment. 20 days on, more than 2 million civilians have fled the war-torn country, triggering a massive refugee crisis in Europe. Take a look at this report on the resilient fight showcased by Ukrainians in the face of war.
Ukraine's fate changed on 22nd February, the day Russian President Vladimir Putin declared war, raining missiles on key military targets. Since then, the war has taken several turns. Russia, which claimed it's only targeting strategic targets, is hitting civilian structures in Ukraine. These pictures are proof. 20 days on, more than 2 million civilians have fled the war-torn country, triggering a massive refugee crisis in Europe. But the spirit of nationalism among Ukrainians transcends borders. Refugees from Ukraine who are in Poland staged a protest, blocking trucks from crossing into Belarus, the neighbor who's hand in glove with Russia. Protesters called for stronger interventions from the European Union. They claimed the trucks and their cargo were not destined for Belarus, but Russia.
In the 21st century, in 2022, Russia attacked a neighboring country and we are having a war in the middle of Europe. All we want is that Europe stops financing that war.
As you can see, all we can do is stand in front of the trucks to block them from getting to the border. The one behind me has Italian license plates and is full of medical equipment.
In Ukraine, civilians remain defiant as ever, refusing to concede their motherland to the Russians. People in Odessa, a crucial port city, broke into an enthusiastic rendition of the national anthem as they filled sandbags to be used in defense against the Russian forces. In the last 3 weeks, 40,000 bags of sand have been shifted so far.
We are very optimistic here about the situation because people really united. You can see that different ages, different languages, different cultures all prepare to fight for Ukraine and for the whole Europe actually. While NATO is quite silent, we are fighting.
I think it's important because it's my city. I love my city, I love my country, and I want that my country win this war.
Let's do it.
Fighting for their motherland and ready to die, Ukraine's civilians have shown exemplary courage and valor to fight the invaders and keep them out. Bureau Report, India Today.
Now, as Mariupol continues to be under siege, a convoy of cars left Mariupol in the first successful attempt for a humanitarian corridor out of the encircled Ukrainian city. This came after several failed attempts to arrange people to leave Mariupol. Here's more. We're getting you these haunting images from various cities in Ukraine where death, destruction, devastation is absolutely in your face. Pictures of destruction in Kyiv as well, where residential buildings have been struck. Shelling and bombardment continues in many of these places as Russia is closing in on the capital city of Kyiv, which right now is under siege. Aftermath of strikes in Ukrainian and also the city center targeted in Kharkiv, the second largest city of Ukraine.